Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition, and today we are going to talk about focusing on the experience and what that actually means and what can happen when we really focus on an experience, and how a big part of our ascension process is focusing on an experience and focusing on how we are creating an experience for someone, how we are enjoying the experience and not getting bogged down on everything else. It is a exercise in presence, which a lot of people hear that and they're like, oh gosh, I don't want to hear that. There's some buzzwords in ascension and awakening that we hear so many times, and a presence is probably one of them. And it has kind of gotten a I guess I don't want to say a bad spin or a bad take, but in a way a little bit, because it becomes like everyone will keep saying that, but what does that actually mean? Presence is, what does that mean? I'm present, but what does that even mean in this context? And how do I do that? Is meditation presence? Is that something else? What does that mean? What does it mean to focus on an experience and just be in the experience? Because I see so many people not in an experience. And I'll just give a couple of examples because, like I said, a big part of our ascension is learning how to be present and in an experience, because you're never going to have the same experience twice, because your frequency is always going to be different when you go. Even if you go through something exactly the same, it's a different experience because your frequency is different. You're going to see it different. You're going to experience it differently. It might bring up something else for you to clear. It's never the same thing twice. So you start to really enjoy the experience. And that can take time, especially when some of your ascension experiences can be rough. When you go into your financial restructuring, because you can't really use the money you had made in your human experiences, and you have to look at where the money comes from now, and you can't use money that comes from a distorted source in a sense. And there's a lot of things we go through and rearrange. So some of the experiences don't feel awesome to our human when we're clearing, but we even learn in time to experience those differently. So when you are learning to be present, learning to be in an experience, a good example I'll use is if I'm out walking. I don't take earphones. I don't take a phone. I never do. And the only exception I do is there's one call I'm on once a month that I like to listen to live for the energy of that call, and the just activation of that call for me. And if I'm going to be outside, I will listen to that as I walk. But it also enhances my experience because the vibration of the call is so high. It's the one thing I will do. But when I walk by someone and they're on their phone or they're listening to music and they're not paying any attention to anything going on around them. I remember one time I was walking and I turned around and there was like 7 deer crossing, like maybe 10, 15 feet from me. And there's a woman behind me and she was on her phone talking to someone. She had no idea they were there. She didn't even see them. She completely missed them. I remember seeing little baby foxes running around, on a golf green when I was walking a golf course. And this other lady, they didn't even see them. Or seeing baby birds up in a tree. And this guy was on his headphones, and I kept looking up at the tree, and he eventually stopped and asked what I was doing. And I was like, oh, there are baby birds up there. And he's like, oh. And then he got very into looking at them, But he didn't see them because we're so not in where we are. We always want to be somewhere else, and we're never really focused on what we're doing, I think that's what Yoda said to Luke Skywalker, actually. You never always get your mind on something else. You never focused, You're never really looking at what you're doing. So, and that is true when we do that. Because our human is always looking for something outside. But really, when we're focused on the experience, we're also very deep and rooted inside. And that's kind of the piece I think can get lost a little bit in that. And when you hear someone say that, we're rooted inside. That is why we're so present, because we're so connected with ourselves inside. We're so connected with what is going on around us, because we're connected with ourselves, because we're connected with our field. And all these things are in our field. So you can feel everything. You can feel that, someone just called my phone. I can know someone called my phone when I'm outside walking around the block, because I'll know that just happened, because it's in my field. And I'm present in my field. I'm present in deep within myself. I know that just happened. I don't need to have my phone with me to know that just happened. I don't require those things because you're so in tune. And when we're in our human consciousness, we're always looking at something else. We go on the walk just to try to do the walk because we feel like it's what we're supposed to do, to get the exercise, to get all these things, but we're not really paying attention to, we're really out here to connect with Gaia, we're really out here to connect with nature, we're up here to raise our vibration. That's why we're outside. We kind of try to bring all those distortions with us. One, there is another reason for that. There's a billion reasons. And another one is we can't handle it so much. The vibration is so high for us, we have to bring in the distortions to keep our vibration to a certain point so we can not be completely triggered by the walk, in a sense, where all our stuff starts coming up. All the stuff starts coming up that's not that vibration, the vibration of Gaia. So in the beginning, you have a lot of people avoiding it, avoiding nature. They don't want to go outside. They don't want to be out in it because they don't want the activation. And then you get to the point where they're kind of being tricked to go outside for different things. We need to walk. You need to get outside. It's healthy. You'll live longer. Our human aspect always wants to live longer. You say, this will help. You won't get sick, or you won't do this, and everyone's going to do it. Or cut something out because I always say in the COVID realities, people would cut out their mother if they thought it was going to get them sick. All this stuff they maybe should have cut out before, they wouldn't do it. But the minute their life was at stake, that stuff was history, because it's the human ego is a very me. It's a very me spot. So there is a point where we have to focus on being in our experience. And you'll see, I think I did a video on slowing down time. I don't know if I did. If I didn't, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do one this fall, because I think it is something that a lot of people are talking about now, that you can slow it down, and how it can speed up again. When you have a lot of people in your field, time will kind of collapse on you because of all the different frequencies going on and trying to keep your spin up, and you can't really settle into time in a sense and slow it down. And really, to slow down time, you just have to be so present within yourself and so deep rooted within yourself. That is what it means to be present and in the moment and in time, even though we technically operate from the future, because we can see all these things we're going to have to be doing. We operate from the future, but we know what's going to happen and things we need to do, but we know we have to create them from this moment on. It's not creating them or waiting for them to happen, which is what our human aspect wants to do. If they feel like, or they go to a tarot card reading or a psychic reading, or they just say, hey, in the future I'm going to do this, I'm just going to wait for that to happen. We can see things happening, but we also know we have to do certain things to set those realities up. We have to get our body to a certain vibration to set that reality up. We have to have that reality. We have to bring our body up to where that reality is. It's not just going to happen by us not doing anything and just waiting for it. We learn not to wait. Now, sometimes it feels like we're waiting for other people, but we are still having things to do ourselves to bring that reality forward. So once we get into being completely focused and in our experience, we're going to be tasked with bringing in other people to an experience and giving them an experience and creating an experience all for them. And that's one thing I'm going to be doing this year, is creating experiences for people. That is something that I felt doing. And whether you're doing it with a family member, whether you're doing it with children, it doesn't matter. If you're doing it on a retreat, if you're doing it in a workshop, if you're doing it in a meditation, you will start to get tasked with creating it for other people. But we can't do that until we can do it on our own. So when we start getting to the point where we can be present and be on our own, no matter where we are, we might not be in a reality we wanted to be in, but there's a reason we're here, and we start to master it and realize, well, I can make magic everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, even a place I never would have thought could have been a sanctuary, I can make it one, because I am that powerful of a being now that I can do that. I am that powerful of a soul being. I can create it anywhere, because my soul will assist me in creating all this. The aspects of me will do all of these things, and I'll be able to do what I need to do anywhere I go. It doesn't matter. The external doesn't shape anything. We can shape the external in that sense and bring every place we go the vibration high enough to support us. And then we'll bring other people into that. But we have to focus on their experience and make sure they are okay and they are having a good time and they are enjoying their experience. And it might be doing stuff we might not want to do. We're like, oh, I don't want to go rock climbing. I don't want to go do this. But it's the experience for the other person. And you're activating that other person and showing them your higher self And when you get into experience creation, that is such a big responsibility to take on in a sense, because you are showing them how a higher self is, what a higher self is, and bringing them into the magical experience that you're creating for them. So they can experience magic, and they can experience bliss, and they can experience joy, and they can experience love and unconditional pure love, and not the tainted human entangled kind of love that so many of us, all of us, were really deep into. So when you start to create that experience for people, we focus on that. And you might do videos where you create that experience for people. You don't look at how it's received in a sense. You just know how you feel when you're creating it and what you're bringing to it. And how it's received in a sense doesn't matter. That's the external stuff we're trying to judge the experience on, how human would judge the experience. We're looking at how can we bring our highest and create an experience for someone. And we don't need the outside validation to say, okay, yeah, that was a good experience. We know it is. We feel it is. We can feel it with the other people. I always say, don't worry about connecting with 60,000 people if you can't connect with one. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about everybody else. I mean, if you can't have a connection with one person, who cares about 60,000 other people? It doesn't matter. It is not anything we need to be concerned about at this point if we can't connect with one. Focus on the one. First, focus on yourself, then focus on the one. And then see, can I bring someone else into this experience? What can make this experience better for someone? What would I want to experience here? And does it match? Or maybe they're going to push you past your comfort zone to go experience something else. But it is a big shift when we start looking at how other people are experiencing something, how other people can experience the highest vibration of us, and what we can create for people. And that's a big, like I said, it's a big thing to take on. And I think a lot of people are going to be getting into that in this, like, I'm going to do something. I mentioned it a little bit. I just had a thunderstorm here, so I did a stream, and it was very choppy. So I went to a video after that. I was thinking about doing another stream somewhere else, but I was like, nope, not today. It's not aligned today. But there's going to be certain things we're going to do that it's all about the experience. And we have to also be present with that person in the experiences to feel how are they taking this experience? What else can I do to enhance it for them? Or is it time to maybe leave them alone in the experience and let them do what they need to do in their experience, and I go do something else over here? It's valuing the other person. It's not trying to take, it's a flip of trying to create something, and I want everyone to play in what I want to create, and if you want to do something else, you can't do that. You're holding that space for them to just enjoy the experience, but you're not telling them what that experience has to be. That doesn't matter. That's their experience in a sense of how they take the energy, how they enjoy the energy, how they feel about the energy. Our job is just to create that space and create that experience for people. So look at where you're creating that. Look at where you're focusing on other things and not creating the energy for that experience. You're worried about, is anyone going to like it? Or if I'm going to write a book, is anyone going to read it? Or is anyone going to watch this video? Or is anyone going to, is anyone going to buy my painting? Or is anyone going to listen to my podcast? Or you're so worried. We can get so bogged down on that, because that's, like I said, we try to take a soul experience we're trying to create, and we're trying to fit it back into a human box on, well, what's going to happen? Is anyone going to like it? You'll know if you're in that energy to create it, and all the other stuff has to fall away. And if it doesn't fall away, then you're not going to be giving the experience that people are going to want to come back for, because we're too bogged down we're too in our ego. We're now distorting our transmission. Our transmission is now clouded because now we're worried about other things, and we're not focused on them. We're focused back on us, on how is this going to affect me? What is this going to do for me? So, all right, I'm going to leave it there. So keep practicing the art of intuition.